Hey guys, I'm in a relatively good mood today, honestly, because I got something for myself that I've been wanting for a while, and that's a new hockey stick. Kind of hard to see, the dark color, but goddamn, that thing cost me like $400. Dear God, it's gonna be so expensive to get every single piece of my hockey gear, but that's besides the point. I guess today what I want to talk about is, again, some more about, like, the Channel Awesome crew. Now, there were a few people that I actually did watch on a regular basis, and I just don't anymore. And I'm not sure exactly why that is. For instance, I liked Moscow X, and I really liked his series where he did, like, what if series on, like, what if this character became a hero in Dragon Ball Z? Like, how would that change the story? And it's an interesting question. Dragon Ball ruined, I didn't say ruined, but they missed a lot of opportunities that would have been really interesting. Like, for instance, Vegeta was never meant to be, like, a hero in the story. He was just supposed to be killed like any other villain. But then, oh God, I can't think of his name right now. Oh my God, oh dear Lord, Akira Toriyama, dear Lord, how did I almost forget that guy? God rest his soul, by the way. Wonderful man, from what I understand. Anyways, he decided that he wanted to spare Vegeta, and it changed the entire course of Dragon Ball Z. But it never really made sense to me that, like, Goku didn't care about his brother, like, at all. Like, didn't try to, like, reach out, find him in the afterworld or anything like that. And he does go down to, like, hell for a while. And it would have made a lot of sense for, like, Goku to run into his brother down there, or run into, like, any of the Saiyans. Now, his father and his mother weren't, like, fleshed out until much later. But his father, at the very least, probably would still go to hell. Depending on which version of events you you take as canon. I was like, in a recent... it's whatever. I'm gonna leave that off to the side for now. Big aside. But Moscow X was one of the guys who was on that guy with the glasses, and I didn't know that until recently. And I guess it kind of makes sense. He kind of has, like, that political bent to him, which, I mean, he's, like, kind of a leftist. And again, I have no problem with somebody who doesn't vote the same way I do, or has, like, different beliefs than I do. But again, like, Doug Walker built a lot of these people's careers by making this organization and building up a lot of them to the point where they were actually able to succeed on their own. And then you had all of them stab him in the back. Like, none of them seemed to have any critical thinking whatsoever. None of them, like, questioned why they were trying to cancel Doug Walker, of all people. Despite the fact that he got all these, like, people together and made, like, this huge organization. It's really, like, depressing the more I think about it. But, like, you had, like, Todd in the Shadows, you had Angry Joe. Like I said, you had the Nostalgia Chick, you had... there were so many, like, big people. I think even Ross Scott was on the website for a while, but he didn't leave the website. He just, like, posted his stuff on there occasionally. Like, I wouldn't say, like, what he did would be the same thing. He just, like, posted his videos on there for a while because he was having all that issues with machinima.com. Which I got into that story before, right? I think I have. Oh God, do I want to go on another side here with Machinima of all things? Maybe that's a video I should make on another day. Machinima.com, one of the most corrupt online organizations I think I've ever heard of. really sad what happened to them. But it is what it is. And it's like I said, collaboration usually makes people stronger in the long run. Having like a group of people that you can trust on, rely on, have crossovers with, share audiences with. It can do you a lot of good to have like this big group of friends that are willing to help you out and make things better for you. And all these people just kind of threw it aside. And if they had thrown it aside, if they had all left the organization and then built their own with blackjacks and hooker, then maybe that would be one thing. But that's not what they did. They just kind of gave up after that. And like I said yesterday, is that a lot of people, once they were out of that guy with the glasses, they were just done. Like, they had just stopped making content after that. And it's just kind of interesting looking back and seeing how things self-destruct like that. And you can see that in a lot of organizations. Like, Red versus Blue basically self-destructed as well. Screw Attack fell apart, but that was actually like a good thing, because Stuttering Craig sold the organization and made everyone involved a lot of money that set them up for a long time. And Stuttering Craig was having children around that time, I think. So he left the game for a while until he made Side-Scrollers. And Side-Scrollers is building up steadily, and I'm very impressed with how they're doing. I mean, it's not like a huge growth. He didn't have like 1 million subscribers overnight. But everyone... This is something somebody else said, but I can't remember who it was. But this guy, during like a Side-Scrollers thing, a stream, said that everyone knew that if Craig ever decided to come back, he could build up an organization just as powerful as Screw Attack. And to be fair, while a lot of people nowadays might not recognize who Stuttering Craig is, he was, I would say, just like Ross Scott, an internet legend. Like somebody back in the early days who built up like something that no one had ever done before. And they never fell off, really. They just keep building up themselves and doing new things and trying new stuff. And they never really became outdated. Like, what is it, Deepside Phil? Kinda did. Because Deepside Phil, he's basically in a rut for the rest of his existence, it seems like. And again, the same thing is true for a lot of Channel Awesome guys. I'm trying to think. His name is not coming to mind right now. And I'm sure people would know who I'm talking about if I, like, describe him enough. He was part of that whole group, and he started like getting really out of control and started like really insult people, and it turned out later he had like bipolar disease. I didn't really watch him that much, but I really enjoyed his Let's Play of SWAT 4. Which is an absolutely amazing game that took like another like 10 to 15 years for someone to make like a spiritual successor to it. Which is a damn shame. SWAT 4, absolutely amazing game. I guess I shouldn't go on another tangent again, but man, I really want to talk about that game. I can't, it really does annoy me that I can't think of who it is. Like he had like a whole bunch of like mental breakdowns, a bunch of arguments with a bunch of people, fell out of the organization. I think he was with that guy with the glasses. Then he eventually had to take a long mental health break, and then he got himself diagnosed. And it turned out that he had bipolar disorder or something like that. And like, now he's on a bunch of meds. Now I can understand like people who have like legitimate mental illnesses. And to be fair, I think a lot of the people who like left that guy with the glasses had issues. Because let's face it, a lot of them were nerds, a lot of them were geeks, a lot of them were, you know, some variant of just like people who are hyper focused on one specific thing, one specific culture of nerddom or geekdom, and they came together to kind of form this like group friendship. If you watch like Kick-Assia, like the special that they did, and just how nerdy all of them are, not saying that all nerds and geeks are like mentally ill or something like that, but people who get really deep into a fandom, like real deep into a fandom of one type or another, they're usually doing it because they can't really find friends anywhere else, and like they get involved in the community and they like immerse themselves completely into it. And you can kind of understand what I mean. I'm watching like Lore re-uploaded right now, and I was watching like a 2-hour video of a supercut with all his like Star Trek stuff on the board. And like 90% of it is just him complaining about like Star Trek Voyager. And that's so frustrating to me because that's the Voyager I grew up with and that I really like. It's like those who are like neck deep into the Star Trek fandoms like seem to hate it. Because it violates like all the rules and like regulations of the Starfleet, and Janeway's kind of an asshole and she violates the Prime Directive all the time and she's not a likable character. And I'm just like, I probably know more about Star Trek than most people, right? I probably know more about StarCraft than most people. I probably know more about Warhammer 40k than most people. I probably know more about, like, oh god, like Warcraft, for example, than most people. But I never put, like, all my eggs into one fandom. I have friends still, to this day, that I occasionally contact from, like, the old StarCraft community. But I never, like, got like so into just one thing that it took over my entire life. As much as like Star Trek or Warhammer 40k has been a big part of my life, I did other stuff that made me uncomfortable. Like for instance, joining the military. Like I wanted to carry on a family legacy of military service, and it wasn't necessarily that I was like, how do I say this? Well, I asked my aunt about it, and she's long since passed away, but when I asked her about it, she basically said it's like, hey, Jeff. She would call me Jeffer. She probably said that. You're like, hey, Jeffer, like, you know, a lot of our family, they were drafted. Like, they didn't choose to serve. And I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, but I still want to, though. And I ended up joining the Marine Corps, and it was really tough. My first, like, 2 or 3 years were rough. But even how bad it got, I still wanted to continue on. Maybe it's just because I'm really stubborn like that, but I wanted to like kind of make something of myself. That even if something is awkward or stressful, to continue on with something that means something to me. Which is part of the reason why I don't have a lot of respect for this guy is cutting me off, so I can't go down the proper exit here. Dear Lord, just pass me, please. Okay, anyways. God, I hate drivers around here. Anyways. So, I stuck with an organization that didn't really treat me that well. And I found a better unit. Because not every unit you go to is going to be like sunshine and roses. It's going to be like rough for 2 or 3 years until you find like another unit. And you don't know if the new unit is going to be better. And that's why I don't really respect those guys who left that guy with the glasses. Because from my point of view, they weren't leaving for like any moral or like ideological reason. They left because they were afraid of being canceled. Or because everyone told them that their friend was a horrible sexist, and therefore they cannot associate with him, and therefore they need to cancel him and wreck the entire organization that built them, that created their very profiles on the internet. And like I said, after a lot of these people left, their careers died immediately. Like, these guys were treated like they were equals, like they were collaborators with Doug Walker, and it wasn't. They weren't. A lot of these guys, they weren't Doug Walker's equal, but he treated them like they were his equals. And he treated them and gave them a platform in order to build themselves. But what they, like, basically were in reality is they were like small-time employees of that guy with the glasses. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. The thing is that they were only popular at all because of their association with the organization. And they needed to build themselves up to use that platform in order to gain their popularity. And they should have been thankful for Doug for doing that for them. But because Doug told a few sexist jokes here or there, they all just jumped off a cliff together. It's like that old saying, would you jump off a cliff if all your friends did it? And that's what that guy with the glasses collaborators did. They all jumped off the cliff because their friends did it. None of them stood up for their friend. I was going to say their boss, but I would say, from what I understand, is that Doug was actually friends with these people. Like, he organized them all together to do specials like Kick-Assia. And again, like what he did for Linkara. When Linkara was having technical difficulties at Yamacon, Doug came downstairs to the venue where Linkara was supposed to perform and stalled for time. He didn't have to do that. He could have just been like, well, we don't really work together that much. And, like, you should have been prepared, so, I mean, that's on you. Like, he could have done that. But no, he came down and tried to help him out. And Doug would have done that for anyone on that guy with the glasses. Like, I had to talk to a friend of mine. And I had to tell her about what was going on with Doug Walker. Because she just, even after all these years, she still thought he was like a horrible asshole who just like mistreated everybody that he worked with. And I told her, it's like, no, like there was like so much like propaganda and misinformation about that whole situation. And they just threw him under the bus. And for what? Angry Joe is actually just an angry douchebag nowadays that, like, just a horrible person all around. Most of these guys are completely, like, stagnant haven't changed their stuff at all. I mean, say what you will about nostalgia, like the new nostalgia critics. Like, they're a little bit over the top, a little bit silly. He's got like new employees. These are actual employees instead of collaborators. I don't like it as much as I used to, but like, he's still trying new things. He's still like trying to like perform for his audience, to make comedy, to like entertain people. It may not be like to my personal taste, but I'm sure a lot of people still watch nostalgia critic videos. And like, that cancellation didn't stick. He's still gaining more subscribers now. And like, he got interviewed on it, and it's just so dumb, man. It's just you know, it's just self-destructive. I want to say a different word, but that word is kind of banned on this platform. Like, they self-destructed their careers. Like, they hung their own careers. And for what? Just for a few virtue points? None of them went into politics. None of them, like, have gained much popularity since. A lot of them have just been completely stagnant. If not, their entire careers fell about their ankles. There's just no loyalty. And I don't blame Doug for no longer trying to collaborate with people. And he just hires entertainers now to do little skits within his videos. Because he can't trust people. He had this huge group of friends, 40 people, and all but 4 of them abandoned him. All but 3 abandoned him, I think. He had like 2 people who stuck on that guy with the glasses, and then had his brother stuck with him. I think even like the co-founders of frickin' that guy with the glasses abandoned him. And again, it was for what? That guy with the glasses would hold on by its fingernails for the next 6 years without any of those people. And Nostalgia Critic is still going strong to this day. So I mean, what did they accomplish? They didn't even accomplish what they set out to do, which was cancel the guy. It's just, people are just so sick of these horrible people who will stab their friends in the back for a little bit more attention. It's heartless. It's absolutely disgusting, in my opinion. Now, maybe somebody will come out, and maybe they'll, like, show some evidence that Doug Walker was this horribly abusive guy. And it's just like, I don't believe you anymore. I don't believe you people. You tried to cancel him for being sexist. This is such, like, a 2010s thing, or an aughts thing. Like, people are just so damn sick of this political correctness that it's just like, you could tell me that he killed a puppy. I would find that more believable. Honestly. It's just frustrating, is what it is. It's just super frustrating. I can only imagine what Doug and Rob went through as, like, all this was going down. They were probably so goddamn confused. And they were probably absolutely heartbroken and terrified. And all of it went down. Every single person that they helped build up just turned on them. I don't get these people, man. I don't get them. For sexism? For telling jokes? He's a comedian. It's unbelievable. And I guess it is what it is, man. That's just bitches and hoes, man. They were all bitches and hoes. Just trying to sell out their good friend for a few more views on their channels. Well, hope it was worth it, I guess. Guess that's it. Bye.